has blocked President Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship.
Now listen to me carefully, children. I've been breathing the air of this republic for 80 long years. I've seen men try to rewrite the rules before, but I've never seen anyone as bold or as reckless as Donald Trump. He thought he could just pick up a pen and erase the 14th Amendment. He thought he could decide who is and isn't an American with one signature. But I've got the receipts right here in my apron pocket. A federal judge in New Hampshire, Judge Joseph LaPlante, just stood up and said, "Not so fast, young man." On July 10, 2025, he officially blocked Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship. He called it what it is, a test of our very foundation. Trump's team is throwing a tantrum, calling him a rogue judge, but Grandma knows better. You don't mess with the Constitution and expect the law to stay quiet. Before I explain how the ACLU outsmarted the White House with a class action masterstroke, hit that subscribe button. You need an old soul to tell you when the world is being turned upside down. Subscribe to The Truth or Lies right now. Let's look at the legal mess. I'm not joking. Just a few weeks ago, the Supreme Court tried to tie the hands of lower court judges in Trump v. Casa. They said local judges couldn't block federal policies nationwide anymore. Trump thought he was safe. He thought he was untouchable, but Judge LaPlante found the crack in the armor by certifying the case Barbara v. Drawn. Trump as a nationwide class action lawsuit. He ensured his ruling applies to every baby affected by this policy, numbering more than 200,000 a year across the entire country. Trump's White House is screaming that this is unlawful and an abuse of procedures. But honey, following the Constitution isn't an abuse, it's the job. They're feeling the whiplash because they realized they didn't close every door. Now, let's talk about the heart of the matter. The Constitution says if you're born here, you're a citizen, period. It's been that way since before I was born, and that was a long time ago. The ACLU argued that denying these babies their birthright is flat out unconstitutional. Trump wants to target the children of undocumented parents and foreign visitors, but the law doesn't care about your parents' zip code. It cares about where you took your first breath. Trump is living in a fantasy land where he thinks an executive order is stronger than the supreme law of the land. My old eyes have seen many people try to climb that wall, and they all fall down eventually. You should hear the language coming out of the White House. I've heard children behave better when you take away their candy. They called the judge's decision an obvious and unlawful attempt to circumvent the law. They called the judge rogue. They said they would fight vigorously. Why so much anger? Because they got caught. They were elected to implement policies, sure, but you can't implement a policy that breaks the foundation of the House. This simmering issue is only getting hotter because Trump refuses to accept that he has a boss, and that boss is the American Constitution. The civil rights groups were smart, folks. They knew the Supreme Court was watching, so they built a class action wall. They wanted to include adults too, but even with a narrower scope, the gate is now wide open for further legal battles. This isn't just one case in New Hampshire. This is a national roadblock. Trump's incompetent legal team didn't see this coming. They thought they had neutralized the lower courts, but they forgot that justice always finds a way. When you try to take away a child's right to belong, you're going to find a lot of rogue judges standing in your way. So where does this leave us? The White House is promising a fight, and the Supreme Court has already agreed to hear the case in the spring of 2026. The ACLU is standing its ground, and thousands of families are caught in the middle. Trump wants to use the rule of law as a weapon, but the law just struck back. Mark my words, children, this is a collision of two worlds. One world believes the president's pen is all-powerful. The other world, the one I've lived in for 80 years, knows that the Constitution is the only thing that keeps us free. The receipts are clear. The judge has spoken, and the birthright hoax just hit a massive legal wall. I'm going to keep watching this, and I'm going to keep telling you exactly what's happening without any of that corporate spin. Share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth from their grandma. Subscribe to The Truth or Lies, and stay wise. I'm going back to my knitting now, but I'll be back the moment that young man in the White House tries another stunt. Stay tuned.